3, 2, live.
You're now watching Two Old Farts Making Noises.
Joe, do you know why some businesses succeed and some businesses fail? Why some businesses grow and some businesses don't? That's what this show is all about. Business, business, business.
Hello,
I am awake now.
Good morning, good evening. I'm Michael Maturo, your host of the Lost Dollar Business Club, and we're here with Stephen and David Oldfart.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning to you, wakey, Stephen.
I'm wakey. Been wakey for many hours. So
As usual. Yeah, this guy.
and the good thing is this show goes live for all our fans. So it'll be 7 o'clock Eastern time every Saturday.
Every
6 o'clock Central, and wherever you are globally, you can do the math. So
we're glad we have global listeners, though. It's very nice, so we appreciate you very much.
All 12 of them. We're very excited.
All two of them. No,
that's right.
But so topics today, gentlemen. We'll start off with the banking crisis, or at least the seeming banking crisis. And then we can also drop into, I have some new news on ChatGPT and their plugins. So ChatGPT might be doing things on your behalf sooner than you think. And then we've got our lost dollar, found dollar discussion at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that.
I'm excited.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bendicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bendicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
Can we get that song "Revolution" by the Beatles so we can, when he says "Join the revolution" today, we go, "It's gonna be a bravo." Yeah, can we do that? Or
if you'd like to pay the Michael Jackson estate for all the credits and royalties,
it's not the Michael Jackson anymore. I thought they sold that all off to a hedge fund.
Yeah, well, whatever. So I know Paul McCartney was always complaining that he didn't own the stuff that he wrote, but there you go.
I know. Well, it's Paul McCartney. And is it really the real Paul McCartney if we talk about the conspiracy theory of Paul dying and this could be a different Paul McCartney? Yeah. So let's not go down that rabbit hole today.
That's the clone discussion for next time.
That's right. We'll do that next time.
Well, we were going to talk about something dying this week. I think it seems like American banks are dying. Left, right, and center.
So. Not only American banks, that might be the
European banks. Are you kidding? UBS is buying Credit Suisse, and they're effing or fisting, if you'd like, all of their bondholders. And that's like I want to say I read the article. I can't remember that. I want to say it's like 60 or 70 billion in bonds, or maybe a little less. But they say it's going to screw up a $278 billion bond market because people are going to be like, "Oh my God, you could do that to us." So like the bonds are selling at like a 20 cents on the dollar. And I'm like, that's not. And there's mega hedge funds that had real money tied up in that.
I understood Swiss had actually.
Thank you, FTX.
I understood that for this particular deal to push it through, that the Swiss government or the Swiss government,
central bank,
and the central bank had changed the law and flipped it around the other way around, because my little understanding that I have of bonds and shares, which of course is why I'm on a business podcast show, obviously, is that normally it would be the shareholders that take the hit and not the bondholders. Would that be correct? Or
no, usually it's usually the shareholders, and there's it's a hierarchy. The bonds are on the bottom of the pile. So I guess they raise the bonds to the top of the pile or left them at the bottom. The problem is with this is that bankers, so basically SVB, which everybody knows, they took a lot of risk, like Signature and Republic. They all took risk. And here's the problem with it. They all took risks in 2008. And what happened is our government said, "Hey, we can't have this. Let's bail you out. And okay, that's fine. There was banking problems in the 30s, which we all know, and there are other banking problems. But the issue is that the CEO of SVB, I guess, sold a ton of stock and made a ton of money. And like the SEC now is looking into it. And FDIC only insures the 250,000 and all this other stuff. But what's happening now is the Fed is saying, and we're going to give money, and we have all this money saved up, so we're going to make everybody whole, which is like $60 billion or whatever the number is. And that's fine, because you don't want hedge funds to go out of business and people not get their savings, or, you know, however they have it. The issue is it just keeps happening. So it's got to be a point where we either let a bank fail or people have to go to jail.
Yeah.
And it's either A or B. Like you can't, and one third point, and then,
Yeah. Sure.
or we do what we're doing now. Print make-believe money. It's all digital anyway. We're not really, it's not like they're doing anything. It's like they just put a button and go, okay, you need 100 billion? 100 billion. I mean, it's a little computer clicky, right? So if that's what we're going to do, then that's great. But then we're going to have constant failures and constant this and constant that. And there doesn't seem to be repercussion. And the people that are getting screwed are apparently bondholders and shareholders or whatever.
Holders of the dollars that are getting printed.
Right. So, and listen, back when they took the dollar off the gold standard, back in Nixon was the last one to have it on the gold standard, right? When they did that, like our dollar is only good as our country. Like any other currency, it's only as good as your country. So it's not backed by anything. It's just backed by America will pay it. Why? Because we can keep printing it. And, you know, we're the big superpower, blah, 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 blah. So that I think has a lot to do with it. But at some point, we've got to say, like, no more. Like, stop. Like SVB, you knew what you were doing. And then I read the article like, oh, you know, interest rates went against them, this went against them, that. No, it didn't. FTX screwed them up.
Yeah. It was bad.
FTX screwed. Yeah. You don't have risk managers. You don't have this. In 2008, the bank that didn't need money was Northern Trust. They're one of the only banks that did not need money, but was made to take money because it didn't want to look bad to JP Morgan and the Bank of America and Wells Fargo and like all the Northern Trust, like in the middle of nowhere, has like, I think $1 trillion probably under management. All the top family offices didn't need money. Why? Because they're conservative. And I don't think they need money now. They're still conservative. And that's the issue. Is just these banks are like, we've got to, no, be a bank. Like, let's stop with this. Like, you're not a hedge fund and you can't insure my money, you know, because the FDIC, now they're being nice to SVB.
They're being very nice to SVB.
Right. And Republican Signature, and they're all trying to buy and sell. And I think BlackRock's trying to buy something and this one's trying, and that's fine. But my thing is at some point, you know, no, because I mean, we're going to print so much money. It'll be like the, you know, what is it? The Zimbabwe $1 trillion is worth like 40 cents. You can get I have a buddy who has a wall of, I found on Amazon, he's got $36 trillion notes from Zimbabwe. I go, wow, that's cool. How much is that worth? It costs $36. I'm like, okay. So that's what's going to happen here. And it's sort of, that doesn't make sense. It's so, I know everyone, the SEC is looking into this, and it's ridiculous.
How did it go from FTX to SVB, but now to the European banks? Do you have any?
No, I don't think that the Credit Suisse has anything too much to do with this. They had their own problems.
Deutsche Bank just had their huge spike in their insurance for the default risk. Right. And that caused their share price to go down 14% overnight.
Yeah, but everybody's share price went down because of SVB. They all died. And then
they had skin in the game. That's the thing.
Yeah. So when SVB's share price tanked, Republican Signature tanked, Credit Suisse, which was always shaky, tanked. Everybody tanked, and now a lot of the central banks are putting money in, and they're helping them out, and share prices are coming up. But it's all because they all saw, once again, apparently due diligence. Nobody knows what that is.
Nope.
They didn't do any due diligence. They all went and did, we'll take your crypto, we'll take this, and SVB was known for that, right? Because they're in Silicon Valley.
That's right.
And they're like, we're, you know, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, you're a bank. Like, I want to put my money in a bank that's a bank. I don't want you to be a hedge fund. And if you have an investment, be a bank.
But does anybody really care about these small banks? Aren't the larger banks large huge
Well-
American banks,
Well,
just going to suck up all their customers. HSBC said, "Yeah, we'll have them all. Well, we wanted them anyway, but they didn't want to
Yeah.
come to us."
But that introduces its own risk too,
Yeah.
because if you start centralizing the banks even more than they already are, you're introducing
screwed.
another layer of
Yeah,
risk.
but it doesn't seem to make too much difference, Michael, does it? Because all these small banks are doing what they thought was a good thing to do: be independent, be flexible, blah 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 blah, and they've all gone to the wall. So yeah, it's still only the big boys left in the playing ground. There's all the minnows have just been swept away.
Well, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if there's I haven't seen an article on the preponderance of regional banks falling away, but I know that.
Yeah, but I mean, when you guys as Americans talk about regional banks, they're as big as some of the European national banks.
SVB
But,
is the 16th
SVB
largest
is a
bank in
big-
America, and it had like
Yeah.
20 or 30 or 60, whatever the $1 billion. So it's a big bank.
No,
I mean,
it's
it's
a big
not-
bank
yeah,
because
yeah.
of who it. But think of all the startups that were banking with SVB, and they didn't just have their. I mean, they had all of SVB was trying to centralize all of the products for every company that was
Yeah.
working with them,
Right.
Yeah.
which was part of the risk.
But I mean,
But
like
it went everywhere. It went to the UK. It went over here as well.
Yeah.
We had the Dutch central bank chairman on yesterday saying, "Oh, guys, it's everything's tickety boo. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's fine. A little bit of leak in a dike. We'll stick a finger in it. Don't worry about it. It's all good."
you guys like sticking
And
your fingers in dikes over there. That's all I know.
Yeah, well, the Dutch do. The Dutch do. But it's just one of those weird things that all of a sudden, nobody have heard of these people or particularly interested in what to say. Bank of England again, yes, early this morning, late yesterday afternoon after they did a interest hike. Oh, everything's fine, guys. Don't worry about it. Oh, and don't worry about the inflation now because at the end of the year that'll all be back to
Yeah, UK
2%, 3%.
10%.
I don't know what sort of Mickey Mouse world these people live in, but I can't see inflation going back that low within a year. But yeah,
It is a Mickey Mouse world in a little bit because people just see it too. I mean, who knows what are they really facing the problems that the average people are facing? But I think we've talked about this before, is that there's certainly a disconnect between policymakers and the people who have to pay for the policies. And I think we're seeing that even with, I'm not disagreeing with backstopping SVB, but they did backstop every depositor, all of the deposits, which is a bold statement to make on behalf of basically.
Well, lucky for a lot of US people because it's $250,000. I mean, in Europe it's 100,000 euros you're covered for.
But David, what they did is they said everybody. So I have a friend who actually has money at SVB, and he has millions.
Yeah.
And he's also his broker. I won't mention the broker's name. Has a fund at SVB. And over the weekend, when we were having lunch, he was like, I don't know if I'm going to get my money. And I was like, you're fucked. Pardon my French for all the kids listening. And then literally while we were at lunch, the FT came out with a news flash that the Fed and Janet, Woody Allen, aka Janet Yellen. If you close your eyes and listen to Janet Yellen, she sounds like Woody Allen. That's all I have to say. Yeah, I was passing on television when she was whatever she was in the other administration. I go, why is Woody Allen on Bloomberg? And they're like, that's Janet Yellen. So when you close your eyes, listen to Janet Yellen, she sounds.
Never hear her the same again.
I know, it's awesome. But anyway, we got the thing that said from Janet Yellen, hey, everybody, this is what's going on. Like, we as the Fed are going to give everybody all to make them whole, like whether you have $1 or $1 billion. And so that was a positive, but I'm just like, if you can't do this all the time, like, at some point you got to go bad. Now, bad is also if I just say I have $5 million and that's everything I have, and I put it in a bank and it goes under and I get 250 back, that sucks. So in one respect, I'm glad that the government's bailing people out. In another respect, either they need to raise the FDIC limit, A, or B, these stress tests that we have a stress test, which is bull. They need to make them more stringent, and they need to make them available to the public. Like when you go to eat at a restaurant in New York, you know, have A, B, and C in the window. So you know, like if you're going to get not a rat or a rat. I literally think banks should have on the windows of their every branch that they have. This is where our stress test is, where they do it on a scale from 1 to 100 or A, B, and C. And this way I know as a depositor, oh, you're an A. I feel comfortable, which means that you have 7 times whatever you're supposed to have. If you go out of business, I'm getting my money. But if you're like a Silicon Valley and you have, like, just say a C, and I'm like, ooh, a little risky, but I get more money, then it's my prerogative, because most people aren't looking at the stress test. They don't know where to find it online. And I think that's a big thing. And I think banks are going to have to become like restaurants, where you're going to have to start posting where they rank on the stress test. And I don't mean post for the billionaires to know. I mean post for the average person that lives check to check, that has their money there, or somebody who has a few shekels. I think you need to have a big thing in the window, ABC, or on a scale to 1 to 10, however they want to do it, and make it that everybody can understand what that means. And then you make a decision. Oh, I'll go with Silicon Valley Bank as an example because they're riskier, but my return is higher.
Assuming the regulators do their job. The regulators do their job. And this came up, they call it moral hazard.
Yep.
Right? So that was the big phrase in 2008, and this is exactly what happens. This is a
reach around. This is just the same old crap. It's a reach around, and you didn't get flowers, cigars, steak, scotch, or anything, or a kiss after it was done. And that's what this is.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bendicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bendicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
All right.
Ooh.
Next topic. That's the sign, I guess.
I get that's David. David's like, I'm done with it. I'm going to run the commercial.
It's a fair point. It was a fair point. I think we did cap it out, but
I think so.
So ChatGPT has now released the ability to write a plugin for ChatGPT, which means that it could do things like buy your flights on Expedia.com, or buy things on Shopify, or get your reservations on OpenTable on your behalf. Now I haven't used it yet because I'm on the wait list, but I haven't used it yet, but I've been reading about it. And this is now the ability for ChatGPT to interact with the live world, which I wanted to bring that up with you guys because you can imagine what's going to happen.
Oh my God.
To be honest, Michael, I can't imagine what that'll be. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I have. So if I have ChatGPT tied into my phone, just say, and I decide I want to pay my credit card bill next month, I'm going to be like, hey, American Express, I didn't make these charges. My AI did. So now who's liable for my credit card charge? Me or the AI?
Yeah.
When it starts running amok, what happens?
When it runs amok, that's going to be the question. When it does things on its own accord. But
surely it won't be able to do that, because you'll be able to, and you'll be able to see as well whether or not you gave it the opportunity to run amok. Or you have to say,
if it's artificial intelligence, it's going to evolve, and as it evolves, it's going to say this. I know this is. It's good. Listen, it's no different than Hal from 2001: Space Odyssey. I know better, and Hal is going to take over your phone
in the morning. Yeah,
right. And Hal's going to be like,
movie that was even more dramatic. There was
the lawnmower man or something. Yeah,
I'm still slightly confused there, Michael. So it's a plug-in. So what actually will that mean for me then? Because
what that means is that now developers can write code that actually interacts with ChatGPT. So if you want ChatGPT you want to tell it, go to Expedia and find me the best flights to Cape Town, it can now interact with Expedia.com to get you that information. Because before plugins, it could only access information from its training set, which was from before September of 2021. So now through plugins, they're allowing ChatGPT to interact with whatever websites you build plugins for. And you can imagine that I think a lot of people are going to be building plugins now to figure out how to get ChatGPT to interact with its sites. Now, a lot of buying sites have been, the first plugins are all related to buying sites, and also Slack, which is an instant messaging platform. So
Slack is for slackers. Sorry.
Slack is, and in a way, and yeah, so there are a few other platforms that it's being used on, including Zapier, which is an interesting development because Zapier is a middleware platform that allows you to go to other platforms. So this could be the beginning of ChatGPT actually interacting with the world. And I will say that even the company I work for, Experience.com, we are using ChatGPT to interact with customers, to act as if it's the customer support representatives, which we knew was coming down the pipe. So it's starting to, this whole platform is starting to be one that's going to interact with the world, which is, I think that's the major shift that I really wanted to point at. And you're right, we can't really imagine what it's going to look like, but some people are saying that you won't need the App Store anymore because now you can just ask ChatGPT to do whatever it is that you want to do. That's a big claim. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but people are feeling the impact of that already.
I like
Is
that.
that direct interface with the world? Is that not what Bard is supposed to be doing? Because I know that because that was always a criticism about ChatGPT, that it was just stuck in 2021. But
Right.
I mean, I haven't had a chance to test it because I'm in Holland, and evidently that's not important to Google.
No.
But
It's not.
you
No,
know,
nobody cares.
thank you, Steve.
Even during World War II, nobody cared. So,
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I'm a UK passport holder, so they should at least
I
give
know.
me the opportunity
That's
to
right.
test it.
That's right.
there
And
you
I'm
go. I
Church of
agree.
England. And I'm Church of England. I had to get that in as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're going to heaven.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So you know, I've got all the things going for me, apart from the
Right.
fact that Google Bard won't work here at the moment. But
Right.
going, go on to something slightly more serious. I understood that was the whole thing about Bard. It was already going to be locked into Google to do everything in real time, and now it seems like ChatGPT is slightly behind the curve. It's very good.
But Bard had its own problems with just with its language not being as conversational, as being relatable as GPT seems to be. And I mean, Bard is still, I mean, there's a race still going on. I think in terms of user adoption, ChatGPT obviously is ahead of the game. But with Bing incorporating, Microsoft Bing incorporating ChatGPT into its search engine, and yes, Google working with, having its Bard. The bigger thing that this points to, though, is what the researchers call alignment research. So how do you align the artificial intelligence with human values? They call it human values and human intent. So this is kind of an experiment in a way. That's why they're releasing these plugins very slowly to the ChatGPT Plus ecosystem. But they're trying to figure out, well, they claim that we need all of humanity to figure out how are we going to make sure that artificial general intelligence does essentially what we want it to do and no more than that. So it's a big
That's what they said in 2001 with Hal. We saw where that went. All I'm saying, the robots are taking over. We're done. Listen. Bard is first of all, calling my artificial intelligence Bart. That doesn't work for me. That's number one. Dumbest name. Just need a better name, like Steve, Dave, Michael. Those are good names. Not Bart. But the plugin, you're just one step closer to people being dumber, stupider, and lazier. Great, you have to learn it, but once you learn it, it's just repetition. So I'm glad we're doing it to an extent, but to another extent, what are they going to start flying planes soon? And I'm sure they will because they do that now. But I mean, but that's my thing. When my American Express bill gets charged $15,000 for something because my AI thought I needed it, but I don't, who pays? It's like, my AI is going, you're stressed. I read your emails. You need to take a holiday. Yeah, no, I'm good. No, but you should take no. And it buys you a ticket because it thinks you're stressed, or in my case, scotch and cigars and a ticket. Then what happens? Like, who do I argue with? I mean, like, it's got to be.
We can't give it that much. We can't give it. That's why we have to build in some very serious guardrails.
Every article I read says they're going to do that. And if we listen, just like in banking, you need serious guardrails. They don't build them. AI, serious guardrails. There's another reach around. You're not going to get flowers or dinner. And that's what I'm telling you. Wham, bam, thank you so much. And that's it, because there's no way.
On the record, on the Lost Dollar Business Club. That's right.
There you go.
You've heard it here.
Yeah.
So when the robots take over, we're screwed.
It's funny because we had this conversation, I think, before about people complaining about calculators in schools, and funnily enough, I actually saw a photograph of a whole load of teachers. I think in the US, with all these banners and everything saying, ban calculators. It'll be the death of the student.
Right.
So yeah.
Look how we all turned out. Yeah, there we go. We all turned out terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're right.
I don't know.
No. I don't actually. I mean,
have we released? Have we let the genie out of the bottle? Do you think really is? I mean,
yes.
And are we reaching the stage now where we don't even own the bottle that we're going to let the genie out of?
Yes.
And that might be the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the genie's out, and I think, let's go back to like a Facebook thing. People are so, and Twitter and the rest of it, they're so engrossed to this. Like when I was a kid, you watch television for the news, or like it's our show, Lost Dollar Business Club. People are listening to our podcast. Hopefully they're on the way to play golf, whatever it is, or they're watching it. But it's informative. But people are just trying to.
Well, that's your opinion, Stephen. Of course.
All right, listen, it's informative, and if not, then we have. But my point is like, I think that the AI has figured out all I have to do is put flashy, cute little shiny things in front of you, and people, humans, will watch it. And AI is going to take over because people will be too busy watching, TikTok videos and Instagram videos, and it'll pass it by. They won't know.
I will say that Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who does ChatGPT, said, I think the beginning of the week, that we have a very short and shrinking window before humanity as a whole has to figure out how we're going to regulate and work with generalized artificial intelligence, or artificial general intelligence, which I mean, I think his warning is prescient, because he's been talking about, him and Musk have been talking about this for years. Finally seeing the adoption come out there. So
no, I think it's great. I'm all for technology, but unless you put guardrails, and we do that so well, as you can tell with the banking, because it keeps repeating itself. People go, no, we did it. But then here's my question. If AI is going to be smarter than we are, and quantum computing or quantum relativity is coming, and AI taps into that, and then it really is smarter than we are, the guardrails won't matter. Wouldn't it be able to figure out how to get out of the? It'd be like, I'm in a box. I can figure this out.
What they're gonna do is they'll have a bank run on guardrails, so nobody will be able to buy any.
I think so.
That's what's going to happen.
But no, but seriously,
just erase the word guardrail so it doesn't exist. So,
but in theory, if you think about it, it's going to be smarter than we are. Granted, we can process trillions of calculations up here, and AI can process 1 billion, but. And
it can it does it so much faster. The compute power that's out there, even to run these models. I mean, there was an article talking about how researchers can't even really keep up with the private industry, the private AI industry, because the compute power required to even run these models is gargantuan. So researchers are now behind the curve. Everybody's going into private sector as opposed to academia, in terms of studying AI, which is creating this whole brain drain and centralization of AI intelligence. So so that's also a risk that I think humanity has to think about.
Humanity, we're at the end. It was as we say, this is the late.
So good.
This is the late great planet Earth. Enjoy it while you can, and it's just like the lost civilizations from millions and millions of years ago. They probably had more advanced technology that we're just starting to find out about now that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah,
and they probably had some AI, and they had three idiots on the Lost Dollar Business Club 10 million years ago saying, it's going to be great. You got nothing to worry about. And what happened? Caveman, dinosaurs, boom. And here we are, full circle. History repeats itself. I'm just saying. So. If you like the Lost Dollar Business Club, you should subscribe. If you like it that much, you should also tell a friend of yours. So you should subscribe and like. Also, you should put comments below so we know what you're thinking. Tell us what shows you want to hear. Just help us make it better. And by making it better, I mean you can't get rid of the three of us. Sorry. Anyway. So.
All right. So is this the lost and found segment? Have we reached the lost and found segment?
Yeah, this is just for you, Michael. So who's lost $1 this week, and who's found $1 this week?
So we're in the first lost and found segment.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
This is your idea, David. What is it? So all the fans know what we're doing.
Okay. Well, the whole premise of the Lost Dollar Business Club is we find ourselves talking not only about people that are doing things right, but also people that are doing things wrong. So there could be a product that didn't work with a lot of hype up in front of it. It could be a service that's fallen on its ass. Or it could be exactly the other way around, that out of nowhere, something is just, going to be, or it could be a real success and maybe worth looking at and talking about. So it might be a bit of fun to finish up the end of the show with that. I'm quite happy to start. I don't know if Michael wants to start.
Or I could start it off for you. I'll have to figure out next time how to show you guys this, but ARM Technologies, that ARM group, which makes mobile chips, basically chips for mobile devices. They're based out of the UK, and they're connected to, I guess SoftBank just acquired them, or recently acquired them a couple of years ago. But ARM, which makes these chips for these mobile devices, has said that they've just announced a way to make more money, but not change their products at all, just by changing their licensing model, which I thought was pretty bold of them. But it makes sense because right now, when you license a chip from ARM, you're only paying a percentage of the price of the chip itself. And now what they want to do, because their chips are found in 95% of all smartphones, they want to actually charge a percentage of the cost of the device itself that it's going into, which of course is a lot more than the chip itself. So that is a big leap that ARM wants to do. And I guess SoftBank acquired them in 2016, so it's been a while, but this is one of their moves to think, all right, they're designing all these chips for everybody else. They do have private agreements with Apple and Samsung, I read, so those agreements won't be touched. But for everyone else who deals with ARM, there could be a totally new pricing structure in the mix. So I think that's a potentially big win for ARM, because they do kind of have the monopoly on the market. Maybe not for their friends.
Yeah, so it's a found for them.
Yeah, it's a found for them. Love it.
Did you just have a cash register sound? Seriously? What am I? 1920-old Jewish guy in a deli? I like a corned beef on rye. Where's my cash register when I do that? She did. Okay, too late now. I already left. So there you go. I love it. That's great.
Who's lost and who's found for you this week?
I would say lost is the trust in the banking system globally. and the central banks. I think they're clueless. I don't think they have enough regulation, and we need, but the proper regulation, and also.
So you're lumping all banks together now, and you're as a lost losing money, the lost dollars
No,
are all
not,
banks.
yeah, no, listen, their stocks are going to bounce back. So in that respect, no, keep your stocks, don't sell it type of thing. But I'm just saying, as for regulators and central banks, I think the confidence in them is lost. That's the loss. And it's evident by what's going on with Credit Suisse and UBS. And the fallout here in America still isn't done. And
It's
we'll see
not
how
done.
that does. Yeah. So I think the loss side, that's lost. I think the confidence in banking, government as a whole, I think that's lost. That's how I look at that. I don't think there's anything found there yet. I don't think there's any whatever. I think people are going to think twice now when they and most people won't, but people that like read the paper or like watch the news at least are going to start thinking twice about the banking system when they start putting money or into a hedge fund or into a mutual fund, like where they're keeping the money.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
Wait,
like there you go. What about you, David? You got a loss now.
Yeah. I think for me, it's a found dollar. I found this was flashed by me this week. It's a company called Good Meat, and they're making. They belong to a California-based company called Eat Just, and they've just received a no questions letter from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Saying that they can start producing cultured chicken, and it's safe for consumption. So so what that will mean, I think, is that this is going to be artificial chicken. So it's a win-win for environmentalists. It's a win-win for people who are worried about the rights of chickens, as we all are.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of is also sort of thrown out I was trying to develop my own conspiracy theory, as Stephen knows, because I thought the world was going to be dominated by Kentucky Fried Dodo, but it seems that that's also changed. So for me,
all right,
it's a found dollar.
I mean, you're right. If they can do this for chicken, why can't they do this for any poultry item, extinct or not?
Yep.
I have a problem with all this artificial. No.
Oh,
We do stuff with people now that do artificial meat, and some of it's really good, and plant-based this and plant-based, and some of it's really good. But I'm always in the back. The plant-based, I'm okay, but like when you get to artificial chicken, I'm like, nothing artificial is good for you, apparently, because that's what they keep telling us. So once again, this goes to my trust in the government. Just because the FDA says it's good, I'm not like so sure.
Yeah, but it was interesting. It said it had a no questions letter that it got back.
That's because nobody at the FDA apparently knows how to read or write, so they can't ask a question.
Or they didn't bother. Yeah.
Well,
that was very good. I like that. I like this new segment. Next week, I'm gonna see if I can find my roller skate key. I lost when I was 6 in Manhattan. See if I can find that. That'll be awesome.
Yeah,
lost and found, right?
Yeah, that's what you need to do. But
all right.
That's it. It's the end of the show. Michael, it was good to see you. Thank you so much. Sorry about last week, everybody. That was on me. We won't miss another show because we know you love Michael.
Not going to do it.
Yeah. And we're back hopefully with this with the new format. Hopefully that people have enjoyed a little bit of fun that we're trying to bring into the dull banking,
to their dreary, miserable lives until they watch our show.
To the bank stress lives.
Yeah.